Hey there YouTube, AJ here. When last we left off with this motor, this is an 8BA Ford flathead, 52 I think, I'm not positive, somewhere in that range. It's the later ones. No, I take that back. This is an earlier 8BA because this one had the later style valves, this one had the earlier style valve keepers. Anyway, when last we left off, we'd gotten the crank out of it, the pistons out of it, and the camshaft out of it. It's almost a bare block now. We need to take out the cam bearings because if this gets hot tanked and everything, they're going to have to come out anyway. So we might as well go ahead and get those out. Any shop hour that I could save by doing it myself, I will. So we're going to get those out. To get those out, we also have to take out, back here in the back, there is a gear that drives the oil pump off of another gear that's on the cam. I've already taken off the back plate. I can't get this gear out yet though because it's on the engine stand. I can't get access to it, and that gear has to come out before the last cam bearing can come out. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation. So I made up this little dolly here, and it fits over top of my engine stand, and so hopefully we can lower this block down onto this dolly, and so we can move it around easier and get the cam bearings out and that gear out, and then start getting this cleaned up for inspection and pressure testing. So let's get to it. So back here is in the rear of the engine, under this plate that I've already removed, the cam gear would be here and drives this gear, which in turn drives the oil pump. Now this gear is press fit into the block, and it won't just push out or lever out. Earlier motors were a lot easier to get out, it just kind of like placed in there. This one's tougher, but this hole in the center of it is threaded 3/8 18 threads per inch, so you can thread in a bolt, or in this case what I've done is this is a 3/8 inch bolt that's hardened, and I cut it off and I tapped the other end for 3/8 fine thread, which fits onto my slide hammer. So basically I made a little adapter on my slide hammer to thread in here, and hopefully I will be able to remove this using my slide hammer. Alright, so let's try to get this in a more stable position. We're going to put that against that. I'm going to sit down and hold the cart with my feet. And let's see if we can get this out. Wowzers. I don't think it's even moved so far. Nope. Well, this is going to be more difficult than I even thought. Now, this is only a 5-pound slide hammer, but I thought, wow, I don't know. Oh boy. There we go. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. We're going to put that in our baggie with the back plate. That way we'll have all the parts and bolts together for this little area. And now we got to get out these cam bearings. Okay, now to get out these cam bearings, there's one here, there's one in the middle down in here, and there's one at the back down here. To get these out requires a certain driver, which was a tool I didn't have. I tried to rent one from my local auto parts, but they didn't have one. So I had to just go ahead and buy one. So you got these expandable, different size sleeves that go in here. And you can see it's made in 4 pieces, so you can expand it to just catch over the edge of the bearings. So you use the one fits the closest without going over, which would be this one. Then we got to put this cone on here because we're going to need it for the next thing. Screw our two pieces together. This is a really long one, so you could do 6-cylinder engines with it, or you know, much longer than this block. It's going to be kind of too long for what we need, but we'll make it work. All right, this goes on here and goes in, and we expand it to fit in here. So I need a wrench or socket or something to expand this. So we're going to put this in here. All right, so now we've got that expanded to where it fits just snug in there. These collars are catching on the bearing, so we should be able to drive this through. One cam bearing out. So now we gotta back this off so we get the cam bearing off of the end of the collar here. Like so. We got a cam bearing. Now we gotta repeat for the center one, but that's where the cone comes into play. Now we take this, put it in there, expand it again. Okay. But now, see how the weight of the bar is drooping down? You take the cone, hold it up in there, and that holds it all centered. And then, now we drive the next one out. And that one's out. Repeat this process. Take this loose. Okay. Next cam bearing. Now, this last one, I'm not going to drive out the back. I'm going to split the block around and drive it out from this side because this cam bearing is already sticking out quite a ways that way. So I'm just going to do it from over here. Just one more time. Now when you install it, you do the exact same thing but going the other way. And you install them all from the front end. Looking at our cam bearings, they all seem pretty good. They don't seem no obvious burnt spots or anything. Kind of grimy, but I don't know if that's from the engine, the fall in the engine or whatever, but anyway, those are our cam bearings removed. Okay, so with the cam bearings out and that gear out, we are ready to start doing the final degriming on this thing. And we're going to be degreasing it. And first thing I'm just going to do here real quick is just knock off a bunch of chunks. But I'll be spraying this thing down with oven cleaner basically to degrease it. And then we're going to power wash it so we can kind of inspect it and clean up some gasket surfaces while we're there. It's not too bad in here.
Oh boy, that's a serious crud there.
Just want to get as much of this chunky stuff off as I can before going to clean it, just to make it easier. We've got some good hot weather coming this week, so I'll be able to use that to bake this thing dry after power washing it. Can't tell if I'm prying against mud or steel sometimes. That's pretty that's just coked up carbon. That won't be so bad. Using my Mortke Super Scraper. Pricey, but these things are awesome. That's about as far as we're going to get it decruded right now. So I'm going to put this away for today. Go to the dollar store before they close and get a whole bunch of cans of oven cleaner. And we're going to soak this thing down tomorrow and power wash it off and see how many iterations we have to do of that. Should be fun. Alright, it's time to start doing the really gross part. First thing we're going to do is soak these things down with oven cleaner, and after we do that we're going to seal them up in some trash bags, and that's just to keep the oven cleaner from drying out and help soak in. And we're going to let these things sit for a couple hours and then we're going to pressure wash them. So anyway, let's start by getting this onto the cardboard. Stuff's already starting to seep down and run off. That's nice. Oh, I forgot this is the really grungy one inside. Trying to get all the surfaces coated inside, it's kind of hard. It smells lemony. It's nice. Probably not good to breathe, but it smells good. All right, yo diggity, it's time to bag it up. All right, let's, oh, come on, stretch, baby. Needed a bigger trash bag. Oh, we're gonna tear it. All right, we're gonna have to go out. This is a different plan here. Let's put this all the way down. Oh. Insert crew double entendre here. Ah, it's tearing. Shit. Okay. Let's see if we can get her up on the other end. Oh, there's like steam coming off of it. Okay. It's definitely doing something. See if we can get some on the other sides. Drip down the other way.
Oh, man, we're almost out. That oil is getting it really good.
Let's see about sealing her up now.
Okay, we have to go get a second bag for the oil pan. Or a third bag.
Pro tip, open the bags before you put the gloves on and get them all slimy.
Alright, want to also do the first one?
Alright, we're going to let that one marinate. And You need to grab another bag for this one real quick. So this one should take hopefully less oven cleaner and should also fit in one bag. That'll be nice. Got about a half a can here for round 2 if we need it. Hopefully we can get this in one. Alright, might need to poke a hole for the dipstick tube. And we're not quite there yet, but we're close. All right. Okay. So we're gonna let these cook for a few hours out here in the hot sun, and later today we'll get to the pressure washer and we'll see how clean they get. Okay, these have been cooking for a couple of hours now. Time to see how it did. Guess we'll undo the oil pan first. Well, first glance, doesn't look much different. Let's see how the block fared. Everything on it feels really loose. That's a plus, I guess. This off here without dropping the block on my leg. That'd be nice. Oh my God. Yeah. Some goopy crap inside. Alright. Guess it's time to throw on the pressure washer and see what it does. Wish I could say I like this part. I hate it. Underneath all the goop and guck, I found a plug for the tube in the middle. I assume it's an oiling tube, and I'm going to assume it needs cleaned out. Let's see if we can get it to break free. I tried while I was doing it, I tried with a screwdriver. I couldn't get it, but let's see if we can get impacted out. Come on. It does not want to break free. It looks like it's made of brass. I'm afraid it's gonna just strip out. I mean, if that's the case, I'll have to drill it, I guess, but I don't know how else to get it out of there. But it is not budging. Hopefully these plugs are available. Alright, well that's not budging. Looks like that's going to be a project for another day. But we're going to have to get that out of there and get it clean. Because I imagine that tube is full of sludge. Alright, now we're going to try to dry everything off with air as much as possible. I had an idea to get my impact driver out, the electric one, and I was able to get that plug free real easy. So you can see it's backed up in there, so I'm going to try to power wash out through this. Put some oven cleaner in both ends of it too. We'll see what happens. I hope this works because I was halfway done cleaning up before I thought of this. Say it's completely clean. Of course, I have my air turned off too. Great. Let's see what we can drag out with the coat hanger. Alright, I think it's clean enough for now. We'll run a brush in there. We'll try to get it cleaner, but I think that'll work for now. Back to drying. Well, we got the engine degunkified, and I'm in some dry clothes. So, I want to put it back up on the engine stand before we start doing some cleanup and inspecting. But, if we look over here, I've got my block on my dolly I made up to go over top of my engine stand thing, and that's all fine and dandy. But the mounting point is down close to this surface. So I'm hoping to get this up here without digging out my engine hoist. So I think the first thing we want to do is flip this block over so we can have this at least kind of up in this area to make it closer. And maybe I won't hurt myself. Alright, so instead of having to lift this up, 8 to 10 inches, now I only got to go 3 or 4 inches here. And I've got it up against the wall here, so I can hopefully get it started and pushed in. And I don't hurt myself. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, come on. Ready, set. Oh, look at that. Oh, I am so smart. Smart or lucky, I don't know which, but I'll take it. We got to get it back into a little further. Too far. Nope, far enough. All right. Okay. That went better than I expected, to be quite honest. All right, let's get this flipped over and we we can start looking at cleaning up the rest of it and inspecting it to see if it's going to be usable or not. Okay, the first thing we're going to do here is take my surface conditioning tool and go over all the surfaces where there could be cracks that could cause problems. Going to get those all good and cleaned up so we can try to inspect them better. Now that everything's cleaned up here where you can see cracks, or at least kind of see them, the places you want to check are between these bolt holes and the water jackets. And these often have cracks, and they're the ones that people call part number cracks, like the Ford blocks came with them, so Ford actually had a part number is the joke. Yeah, these look really good. That one, I don't think any of them on this side have cracks, so that looks good here. On the other side, there's a potential for one there, maybe. Can't really tell. It kind of looks like there might be, or maybe one's starting. Again, these are no big deal if they are there. And then another one here potentially between there, maybe. I can't tell if that's it. But anyway, you're going to put thread sealer on these holes anyway, and they don't go anywhere other than to the water jacket. So leak between here and here isn't a big deal. More importantly, you look at your valve seats and between the valve seats and the cylinders, especially on this one, these two, and this one, because those are the exhaust manifolds and they get hot. Now, this rough area that you're seeing here is where corrosion happened, where stuff got in here. Almost every cylinder on this block has that. I am not concerned about that at all. I'm going to be grinding away a lot of that surface anyway, because I'm going to do what they call relieving the block or the valve pockets. I don't know what anyway. The idea is that you cut this material here between the valves and the piston bores, so inlet gases can flow in better and exhaust gases can flow out better. It's just to improve the flow through the engine. So I'm going to be doing that on here, and I'm going to practice on this block. So that rough area is no big deal. It's basically, you can see where the head gasket was on these. Kind of looks like a Mickey Mouse head. Anyway, that area there is what's going to get removed. Everything outside of that, where the gasket actually goes, is fine. Now, back to looking for cracks. And cracks aren't fatal here. If there is a crack, they can potentially be welded, and they can sleeve this. But if it goes into the water jacket, yes, it is fatal. But again, unless you can weld it, pin it, weld it, etc. But with an 8BA block, that might not be worth your time and money to do, because you can find lots of 8BA blocks. So far, looks like a potential one right here. Can't tell. It's very small if it is, but it does look like there's a potential for one right there. So we have 1, 2 possible, but this one looks more potential than that one. That one just looks like corrosion. So let's go look at the other side. Another thing to mention is you can see like some of these valve seats look really good and others look really bad. If I go to reuse this block and rebuild the motor out of it, all the valve seats will be removed and new ones will be put in. Hardened valve seats will be put in place. So that's no big deal, as long as there's enough material around them to put them in. Well, so far I'm not super concerned about the top end here. Everything looks pretty good. I got one crack over there, maybe, can't tell. So what we're going to do to check that is I'm going to make a block off plate and a block off plate for the water pump inlets, and I'm going to actually pressurize the water jackets of this block and use soapy water and and then look for any bubbles, which would mean we have air leaking through the block. So we'll do that ourselves, and if that looks good, we can go on to the next step, which would be magnafluxing. Before we get there though, there's another place you can look for fatal cracks in these blocks. We got to flip the motor to look for those. Okay, so the bottom oil pan rail here is the other place to look for cracks. And a couple things. You're looking not only in the top here, like between the bolt holes and everything, you're also looking on the inside and outside of the block around here too. Because what we're looking at is the water jacket actually extends down into this rail. And these engines can sit outside, fill up with water in here, freeze, and then crack this pan rail out, and they're pretty much done for at that point from what I understand. So this side all looks good. I don't see any cracks up in here. All this looks good out here. Before we go over to the other side, let's look in the inside here. This all looks good. Yep. Yeah, everything looks really good on this motor in terms of cracks. I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm pleased. I think we have a rebuildable core so far. Okay, it's been a little bit since I've been working on this block. The last thing I did was take some Rust-Oleum rust reformer and sprayed it on a light coat of all the surfaces that aren't going to get machined, etc., because I just wanted to give them some level of protection from flash rusting. Nothing major. I know I'm still going to have to hot dip this thing before any machine work happens on it, so it really doesn't matter, but I just wanted to do that for my own, keeping it nice in my garage. The other thing I did was I made a set of thread chasers. And all I really did was just take a whole bunch of the different size bolts I need for this, and then I cut grooves in the threads of them. That way when you thread them in a hole, it gives a place to all of the junk, rust and grease and goop to get in, and then you can clean them out. So basically once you do that, on the larger bolts I put 3 grooves, on the smaller bolts I only put 2, on the really small ones I only put 1. So once you do that, you just take the bolts, you run them in, then run them back out, clean out the channels on the chaser, then I do it again. Normally I do it 2 or 3 times until it comes out clean. And I've already gone ahead and done the block. I didn't think you want to see me run these bolts in and out like a billion times. So I've chased all these holes. Again, probably not important at this point because the block's going to get hot tanked, and some of that stuff would have came out with the hot tanking, blah, blah, blah. I still would have chased them afterwards, and I will chase them again. But since I'm going to be trying to pressure test this thing myself, I wanted the holes to be good. So last thing I need to do before I build my pressure test kit and pressure test this thing is that I still have 2 broken bolts in the head. I've got one over here and I got one back here. So I need to address that. I did try to easy out them, but they didn't budge. I tried to heat them, I tried to easy out them, you know, they're not coming. Now there is just a little bit of threads on these sticking up out of the block. So what I'm going to do is take a nut, thread it on there, and then try to weld the nut to what's left of the bolt, and hopefully I can get it out that way. To do that, I'll be using my new Simder SD4050 Pro 10-in-1 welding cutting machine. At this point I still only have it set up for flux core welding, but this flex core is much better than my old one and it doesn't splatter as much. But I'm still going to take and cover the area around where I'll be welding with some painter's tape, just to keep any splatter from getting into places I don't want, or causing problems. I don't think there's going to be much at all, if any, because this thing does weld a lot cleaner than my old one. But it's the old better safe than sorry adage here. So we're just going to do that real quick. Now, I've seen this trick done before. I've never actually done it. I've never been that confident in my welding and worried about getting weld on other stuff and ruining things. But I think with this new Simder, I can do it. The other thing is, since I did already drill these out, I'm hoping that doesn't screw me. I'm hoping I can still make this work. So let me get the other one taped up and then we'll give her a try. Now on my old welder, it only had 4 heat settings and 1 to 10 on speed. So I probably would just turn this up to the Whoa Nelly setting and just went at it. But on this one, it actually has a lot more settings. So I'm actually trying to learn how to weld with the correct settings and learn how to set up your welder for the different materials you're working on. Now this is obviously heavy steel, but I also don't want to blow through what's left of the bolt. So we're going to go flex core. I'm looking at the Miller welding app. The material is steel, and I'm guessing it's like 1/4 inches, because if you go around what's the edge of this 3/8 nut, that's about the thickness, maybe a little less actually. And then what's left of the bolt's probably even thinner, so I don't want to go too thick. Maybe I'll go 3/16. We'll try it on 3/16. Self-shielded flex core wheel. We got 0.035 wire in the machine, and it says 15 to 16 volts. I don't understand. It's got 2 settings. Oh, that's 0.045. Okay, so I want to say 0.035. So 15 to 16 volts and 205 to 215 inches per minute. Okay, we're on flux core welding. We're going to hit enter. This is our voltage, so we're going to take that up to, let's go 15.5, because that's right in the middle of the 15 to 16, and then this needed to be up near 200 or so. Now see, it's automatically adjusting that up, so maybe we'll try to back that back down, see if it backs down and lets me separate it. 200, and it'll only let me go down to 19. Oh wait a minute, my wire size is wrong. Hang on. Alright, so there's our wire size. I need to increase that to 0.035. There we go. I don't know what 2T is, we'll leave it there. I don't know what this 5 is, we'll leave it there. Memory, no. Alright, how do I get back over here? Apparently I need to look into that. What we're going to do is run this down. We're going to go at 19 and 196 and just see what happens. Now, I admit, one of the reasons why I've never tried to do this before was because I always had so much trouble trying to see while I'm welding. Turns out it's the mask I was using. I never had a really good mask, and I could never really see very well. The Simder mask that I got with the Pro Luxury Kit, I love. I can see so well out of this. Like, I can see where I'm starting my arc. I can follow the line I'm trying to weld on, etc. And this thing has been really good. Time will tell how it holds up, but so far I've been really pleased with it. Okay, we got a breaker bar ready to go. Now I'm just going to try to do this one first, and then we'll go for the other one in a second. All right, wish me luck. Tape caught fire, but that was to be expected. Come on, don't break. Just take the bolt out. Come on. Well, something's moving. I'm hoping it's the bolt not breaking off. Oh, I think I got it. I love this Simder. Look at that. I did it. That's pretty neat. Okay, super pleased. Let's hope we can do a 2 for 2. Wish me luck again. I'm hoping we can do this a second time. There we go. Come on, be nice to me now. Come on. Nope, that one broke. Shit. I think I'm going to try to weld up the hole in this a little bit before I try it again. And I got to find another 3/8 inch nut. All right, let's see if we can weld this up a little bit. All right, now let's see if we can find a nut. Okay, I found the nut. It's not 3/8, it's 7/16, and I think this is my last 7/16 nut. So let's hope this works. And we don't have any threads to thread it on with this time. So let's hope we can do this. All right, let's see what we can do here. Come on, cross our fingers. Let's hope this one works. Probably the problem is I don't know how long I should wait before I try this. I know you want to do it while it's still hot, but not so hot that the weld hasn't set. Come on, please. Please don't break. Come out of there, come out of there, come out of there. Don't be breaking. Don't be breaking. Just come out, don't break. Come on. I think I got it. I think I got it. I reiterate, I love my Simder. The Simder SD 4050 Pro 10-in-1 welder. I know it's a commercial at this point, but man, freaking awesome. I could have never done that with my old welder. Never. Alright, we're going to do a quick cleanup of these holes. And then chase them out. Actually pretty clean. Threads are pretty clean already, so that was good. I'm just going to do each one twice. It's going in nice and easy now. Okay, I think that's what we're going to call it for this video. This block is now ready for pressure testing, but I got to build a pressure testing kit for that, and that's going to be a whole video on its own. So next time on this block, we will build the pressure test kit, and we will pressure test it to see if it has any cracks, internal leaks, things that would prevent me from moving forward with making this block a motor again. So I want to thank Simder for the deal they got me on this welder, and because I don't know if I could have saved this block without it, or having to pay someone to remove those bolts for me. The difference between my old welder and this welder is night and day, and that mask, being able to see what I'm doing, man, I just love this thing. I can't say it enough. So far, it has greatly exceeded my expectations, and I have only used the flux core welding part of it so far. So I can't wait to use the rest of it. I also want to thank Ryan over at Between the Sharks. His video on the Simder welder is what turned me on to them and made me interested and started looking at them. Thank you for that. He also pointed out the Miller app that I use to get my settings. That's helping me a lot learning how to weld, so I appreciate his YouTube channel, Between the Sharks. If you haven't watched that, check it out, it's good. And yeah, if you've watched this far, I hope you still are enjoying watching me learn about these flatheads and motors in general. I have never torn a motor apart like this before, not to this depth. So, I mean, I've been into engines and fixed things, but I've never actually torn one completely down and am trying to rebuild one from scratch. So this is all new for me. I am going to be trying to tackle some of the machine work on the block myself to save myself some money. Obviously, I won't be able to bore it. That's not happening here in my little garage. But I am going to try to do the port matching on the intake and the heads. And I'm also going to attempt to relieve this block myself, and that basically is to remove some of the area between the valve seats and the cylinder. So that would take care of a lot of this crusty, nasty stuff too. I'm basically calling this my practice engine because I think the other motor is better in general, but this engine, I'm trying everything I'm doing on this one first, because if I screw up, what have I lost? Not that much. So this is my practice engine. I'm going to do my best to make it a good engine again. But at this point, you know, I'm just using this one as experimentation. So thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you hit that like button, subscribe. That helps those small channels like mine out immensely. I'm approaching 1,000 subs. At 1,000, I can potentially get monetized. So, you know, there's that little nugget of hope. I'm not looking to get rich off this channel. I'm looking for this to be my retirement job. Just making a little bit of extra money on the side after I retire in a few years. So, I guess next time when you see this motor again on my channel, we'll be building the pressure test kit and seeing if it has any leaks. So until then, YouTube, later.